I'm Johnny Ray, and this is 5 Hour Recovery, another 4 addicts from addicts, real, raw, unedited, unprepared stories of people who have gone through the clutches of addiction and have pulled themselves out. With me today, my guest is Zane, and he has agreed to share a little bit of a story to maybe help somebody. Maybe somebody can hear a message from what he's gone through in his past and through his experience of addiction, and maybe talk a little bit about what you did to get clean. So, without further ado, I'll introduce you to Zane. So, Zane, how was your life growing up?
I grew up normal. My parents, my dad had a good job. My mom, she kind of left her job to raise me and my brother. I had a twin brother, but he died from fentanyl 4 years ago. And
we'll definitely come back to that.
Yeah, yeah,
that is definitely
that's a big one for me. It was all right. We lived in Washington. I was born in Wisconsin. I just had a normal childhood. I seen the same things that most people see, and I really wasn't around drugs or anything. But when I got into junior high and high school, trying to fit in and thinking that the wrong things were cool, and getting high was cool.
Yep.
So that's what I started doing, and my mom would always, tell me, that life leads either dead or in jail, and I didn't believe her for the longest time. And I just.
What'd you start with?
Started smoking weed, and then I don't know. My dad, he's had his mental problems or whatever. So my mom, me and my brother were kind of crazy growing up. Always fighting and everything. And they put me on medications for depression and stuff. So that led me into popping pills.
Oh yeah, what kind of pills?
Anything I can get my hands on.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Anything. Yeah. But they had me on Zoloft, and then they put me to Prozac because the Zoloft was making me fidgety and shit. And, I don't know. I just liked feeling numb, dude. I liked, getting high and going all the way. And then before I knew it, somebody introduced me to meth. And, I dabbled with, cocaine here and there growing up, but meth was the big thing.
Yep.
And I didn't notice it at first, but, my parents, they kept kicking me out, and I left. The first time that I ever went on a meth binge, I was, 14 years old.
Jeez.
And I was gone for, 2 weeks, and then when I went back home and I saw my brother, man, he started crying because I had lost so much weight in that 2 weeks. And I was only 120 pounds in 8th grade.
Wow.
And he could notice that I lost weight. And that was almost 20 years ago, dude. Or 21 years ago. I'm 35 now. And, I don't know, I've always been big with drugs, and my brother, he was more of a drinker. But he still dabbled in drugs, and that's a big thing for me. When he died, it made me want to change my life. I wanted to change when he died 4 years ago, but I've only been clean 9 months. And
did you guys ever do drugs together?
Yeah, all the time. He had a really good job going to Phoenix a week out of the month to wash post office trucks. And we go down to Phoenix, every 3 weeks for about a week. And every time we go down there, I'd always find somebody, down there with meth and stuff. And we start smoking it up in the motel room. And then we go back to Wisconsin and couldn't really find it out there. But every week or every 3 weeks when I went down there, I was getting high. And I think that's the big thing when I moved back here 10 years ago, because when I was 17, we moved back to Wisconsin, and I was there for 10 years, and out there drinking is a big thing, and you can't really find meth out there, so whenever I'd come back here to Washington, I'd always be finding the meth, and when I came back this last time, I knew where to get it every day, and I just went downhill quick.
Is it in Everett, or is that where you came? Is Everett, Washington?
Yeah, back to Everett. My dad worked at Boeing.
Oh man.
So
It feels like Washington, Everett area is the epicenter. I mean, or at
Yeah.
least one of them. You know, it's on every corner and every block.
yeah.
And so when did things start getting out of control for you?
Right from the start, man.
Yeah.
You know, because once you start doing heavy drugs like that, you know, and you notice physically, especially when you're sober, you know when someone's on drugs.
Yep.
Because like when I would walk into a store, yeah, I'd be going in there to steal something, but like I'd be you know wearing clean clothes and wondering why they're looking at me like that. I don't. To me, I don't seem like I look like a thief and drug addict, even though I was. But people can see it when you're sober. You can see it right off the bat.
Yeah.
When somebody is no good, and now that I'm clean and I see people that I used to know, like they look tore up, dude. But when I was with them using, they looked normal and healthy to me. But yeah, like every time I see somebody who I used to know, they're like, "Man, you look good, dude," and I feel good.
It's awesome. So did you ever get in trouble with the law or anything like that? If you want to talk about it. It's cool.
Yeah, I have. I haven't got any felonies, but
It's good.
I got theft threes and trespassing, and most recent one was a assault for DV, because I've always had girl problems. And,
Don't we all?
Man,
The women will get me to get loaded. Sorry to interrupt you. The women will get me to get loaded before anything else, dude. That is just the story of my life, dude.
yeah.
I don't know if it is for you.
Doing the drugs, it was my choice, but I started with pain pills, and the girl I was with at that time, she did pain pills, so I thought I'd do some, and then I got addicted to them. And then when I came back here, I got with this other girl, and she shot up heroin, so I figured, why not? And I started doing it. It was my decision, but, a person who doesn't own up to their shit would be like, oh, they were the reason why I did it.
Right.
But, females have that power over people, like, and, man, when you're on drugs, time flies, dude. Like, the last 10 years of my life have went by like a flash, and nothing to show for it. I wasn't even trying to look for a job. I wasn't trying to do anything. And then when my brother died, like a part of me, a big part of me wanted to stop, but I couldn't,
So let's talk about that for a minute. So he was a steady drug user? Your brother was?
He'd dabble, when it was around, but he was more of a steady drinker.
Mm-hmm. And when and how did you find out, and what was your reaction to it?
Well, it's weird because we're twins, and I kind of felt it. I felt something weird, and me and my dad weren't speaking at the time because some of my friends ended up robbing his house and stealing a bunch of guns, and he didn't want to speak to me anymore. I don't blame him. But I was walking down the street, and my friend Wes came up to me, and he was like, dude, your brother's gone, man. And I was like, what? And a part of me, I knew what he was saying, but he had to break it down for me. And I don't know, up to that point, I've had so many friends die from heroin that I didn't even cry, dude. Like, I was that numb. And I cried later on, but then 9 months ago when I really got clean, dude, there must have been like a week period where I just bawled my eyes out, dude. Like, all the stuff that I was numbing just came out. Like, there's a few nights where, I just walked around all night up and down Evergreen Avenue, and then I'd stop and I'd duck off in a corner or something, and I'd start crying again. It was hard, dude. And, but now, my dad, he talks to me and stuff, but after he had to go pull my brother off life support or whatever, he retired from Boeing a couple years early. He wanted to keep working a couple years so he can get more money out of it, but he called it quits after that, and he moved back to Wisconsin so he can be with my sister and their kids. And, yeah, man.
So he had never done fentanyl before?
Not that he did pain pills, but not, he liked, Percocets and like Vicodin and stuff.
I want to talk about how fentanyl is kind of a beast. You know.
Yeah, dude.
That's the new age thing. Like I never did fentanyl.
Well,
never
especially
have, you know, and
especially when you mix it with alcohol. If you do fentanyl with alcohol, you're a goner, pretty much.
Wow.
And like I wasn't there for none of that, and I don't know. Part of me wants to, you know, investigate the last 2 years of his life and find out what he was going through and stuff. I erased my Facebook page and because I can't really go on there because people message me and try to talk to me about stuff, and I had a bunch of pictures on there that shouldn't have been on there, and just pictures of me when I was using, when I looked all fucked up. I didn't want employers, like, because now I'm with my friend from treatment, you know, we're running a construction business, and we've had referrals from people, and yeah, we showed up to work, and one of the ladies we worked for was like, "Happy birthday" to my boss, and she found out from Facebook that it was his birthday. So I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta erase that because they're gonna be looking at mine, and I can't have that." So instead of, you know, going through and erasing a bunch of stuff, I just erased the whole thing, and I haven't made a new one, which I plan on doing. I'm gonna make a clean one,
definitely,
of all good things.
Well, social media is a freaking beast in its own right, man.
Yeah.
Especially if you have stuff from your past on there that you don't want people to see.
Yeah.
You know, whenever I meet up with anybody, I always look up their Facebook accounts first and see what they're, you know, who they are, what they've gone through, and that's just because that's how you find people nowadays.
Yeah.
So I hate to keep going back to this. So your brother goes into a coma. You don't mind that I keep talking about it, do you?
Go ahead.
So your brother goes into a coma, obviously.
Yeah.
And then how long before your dad decided?
Well, he had to go all the way back to Wisconsin, so he was on life support for 3 days, and I guess he had a brain aneurysm. He had bleeding in the brain. I guess he died in the bathroom. He locked himself in there, and who knows how long he was in there before anybody noticed. And they said they got him back in the ambulance, but they said that his heart stopped like 4 more times on the way to the hospital. And then they finally, you know, got it to keep going at the hospital or whatever, and I think I don't know if they had him induced into a coma or if it was how he was, but this, like, I need to still look into all this, but part of me wants to, just to find out what he went through, but a part of me doesn't, just, you know, accept that it happened, because there's nothing I can do to change it. And whether I know or not, it doesn't change the fact that, you know, what happened.
Right.
So instead of digging myself through all that emotional stuff, I just accept it, and, you know, I say my prayers for him, and God is a big part of my life now. Yeah, when I was using, man, you know, like, I'd hear voices and shit, and I'd think all this crazy shit, and
yep.
Man, dude, it got bad, where, like, I thought people were fucking plotting on me, and fucking, I thought I was hearing and seeing ghosts, and maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. I don't really want to, you know, go down that road. But right now I'm living it up, man. Like, I'm here at the Clean and Sober Apartments with Dan and you guys, and got a good job going. Everything is good. I'm making good money. I bought a car. 35 years old. Finally bought my first car.
Wow, that's awesome, dude.
You know.
Got your license still, obviously, right?
No, I don't have a license, but I've been pulled over once.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to see who I was, you know, because I was wearing all clean clothes and, you know, driving a nice car. And
yeah.
I was over off of Madison Street at Valley Village, and the cops, right over there is where I lived, and that's where, like, all the dope spots are now.
Yeah.
And, you know, they wanted to see who I was, so they pulled me over in Valley Village parking lot, and I handed them my ID. I didn't tell them I didn't have a license. I just gave them my ID. They knew who I was. And the same 2 cops that arrested me twice.
Wow.
And they saw that I was doing good. And I told them I just bought this car off my boss. And I told my boss's name, and that's whose name it's still in. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they were just like, well, just don't drive without a license. I was like, well, can I drive home? They're like, we're gonna leave. You can do whatever you want.
That stuff never would have happened in active addiction. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
shows you that's the fruits of us being clean, right? Because you're just like, these guys arrested me twice.
Yeah.
And now they're letting me go knowing that I don't have a license, pretty pretty much.
Yeah.
And just saying, drive back. I mean, that's the stuff that's amazing. Man, I don't recommend driving without a license, obviously. We should get you a license, that's for sure. But
you know how like people are like, "Oh, fuck the cops, fuck the cops." It's like, well, people that say fuck the cops are up to no good.
Exactly. You're 100% right.
Because when you're not up to no good, the cops are cool, dude. They will reason with you, and they will, see that you're doing good, especially if they know you, and they see you're doing good now, and you're changing, and you're not causing them a problem, and they don't have to babysit you or take you to jail, and you're handling your tickets and shit, and when I first came here, I was in the sheriff's program.
Nice.
I went to the diversion center, went through all that, went to treatment at PCN.
Mm-hmm. What's that? What's PTN?
Pioneer Center North.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Cedar Woolley.
Okay.
Cedar Woolley. And
we try to plug these places: the Diversion Center, PTN, PCN, and the Sheriff's Program.
Yeah.
Awesome programs, awesome treatment facilities, awesome detox facilities.
Yep.
Awesome.
They helped me out, man. I came here. I had 6 months rent paid up. The sheriff, Heather Banks, she bought me, blankets and pillows and all that. And when I got out of treatment, I didn't know, because they said that I was going to have housing when I got out, but I didn't call her before I got out. So I actually went back to the trap house for a couple days, and then I called her, doing my research, finding out what's going on with housing. And I called her. She's like, "You're supposed to call me before you got out." And I was at the trap house for like 3 days, not doing any dope, and man, it was hard, dude.
I bet. I can't imagine.
That was a big test for me, dude. And people were like, "Why are you even here, dude?" I was like, "Man, I'm waiting for my housing." Even though I already had it, all I had to do was call her.
Yeah.
But I came here, man, and at first I was going back and seeing my ex, the one who I got the domestic violence charge with, and I've already been to jail twice for no contact violation, and next one's a felony. Still going to see her. I was kind of sketchy, coming here. And Dan, he was kind of worried about me. He didn't think I was going to make it. But then I cut everything off with her and stayed here. And then I got the job. Got into CCS over there, Catholic Community Services, and starting to do my outpatient. I'm about to graduate OP now. I already graduated IOP.
Nice.
Me and my boss, we do NA meetings on Zoom on lunch break.
So good.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And yeah, man, I just try to stay out of trouble. And
That's good. So why is this? I'll ask you one more question. So why do you think these videos are important, and why do you think they'll help people?
Because a lot of people out there, they feel like that they don't have any resources or help, that nobody wants to help a drug addict, but really it's the drug addict has to want to help themselves.
Definitely. Well said.
Because if you are just going to people trying to, have them help you out with money and whatever just to support your habit, you're just using people. But if you go to somebody, and honestly telling them, "Hey, I want to stop. I need to get out of this. I'm worried about my life. I don't want to live like this no more." And they can see that you're honest. All the resources are there, man. The sheriff's program. They came to my camp spots 10 times, dude. And they knew me by first name. "Hey, Zane, found your camp again. You want to go to the diversion center? You want help?" "No." "Okay." And then they stick a 72-hour vacate on your sign in your campsite saying you got to leave in 72 hours or you're going to get arrested. And that happened to me a few times, dude. More than 4. And the last time, I went to jail for warrants, and then started staying at the trap house, even though I didn't want to, because I was the kind of drug addict that, like, even though I was on drugs, I still didn't like being around those kind of people, dude. So even though I was at the trap house, I wasn't in everybody's business and shit. You know,
Yeah.
like I just stuck to myself, me and my ex-girlfriend, and you know, we had our problems and shit, and she has been like the biggest test for me, you know, and even now, she's tracked me down a couple times now that she knows that I'm doing good, you know, trying to hit me up for money and shit, and bought her a brand new phone, and $200 phone, nicer phone than I got. She broke it, came at me wanting more money. I gave her some, and now she still hasn't gotten a new phone, because she would have messaged me by now saying, you know, not that I'm worried about it, but it's just like when you get clean, you cannot associate with them kind of people, dude.
Definitely, 100%.
Even if you care about them.
Yep. It's,
You
dude,
have
that's
to-
a battle.
Yeah, dude, and it's hard. Like a part of me wants to go find her and find out if she's doing okay, but I know she's not. So what's the point?
Right.
You know? And she would just lie to me and bullshit me, you know, saying she wants to get clean and shit just to get me to go help her out again.
Yeah.
And you know, women have that power over you. You know, I'm a dummy, and I went and fucking helped her out.
I am too, man.
And then, you know, I gave her money one morning, and then fucking that night she's calling me to pick her up because she missed the last bus. And I'm like, okay, where are you at? And she tells me where she's at, and I'm like, okay, there's a dope house right around the corner. So I know what you went and did with that money. Thanks a lot. I'm clean and sober, and I'm buying drugs, technically.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But
But you're happy today.
yeah, man, I'm happy, dude.
Good.
Sober life is kind of boring.
At first, yep.
Yeah, you just gotta find what makes you happy, dude. Like during the week, man, I'm so busy, dude, and working, and I love my job. You know, I'm building stuff and I'm helping people, and they're extremely happy with what we do for them, and we build a lot of nice stuff, like decks and home repairs and framing and siding and whatever you can do to a house, we do it. Painting, and on the weekends, man, you know, we have our house meetings, and then after that, we're free to do whatever. So I don't know. I usually just stay home because I'm tired from working all week, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't discourage me, you know, just working and being tired. You know, I love my life right now, even though it's boring. But I'm making it boring. You know?
Right.
Life is what you make it.
Damn right.
And right now I'm in early recovery, so I'm keeping it boring.
Yes, that's smart,
You know?
dude. That's so smart. Well, thank you, Zane, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing your story. I'll jump in the shot real quick.
Okay.
So what I loved about your story is that there's no crap, right? It's real. People think that you just get clean and everything like happens so good, right? Like, oh, I'm clean now and now everything works out for me, and that's such a load of crap. He's right. It is boring at first. I mean, because I did everything loaded. So I did everything high. It didn't matter what it was. Small, large, didn't matter. Wake up in the morning before I go to bed. That's what I did. I got high. So when you don't do that, now you're like, well, what do I do with myself? What do I do with my hands? I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my hands. You know, and the only thing we know is the trap houses. The only thing we know is the bad hangouts. The only thing we know is the terrible people. You know, we don't know anything out there. And I got to admit, like, I'm not really into the whole recovery dances or the recovery campouts or the it just doesn't interest me. But they are available.
Well, right now with the whole coronavirus, you know,
True.
there's none of that shit even going on, you know.
That's true.
So,
but I absolutely love that. So this story, this was awesome, Zane. I appreciate you. It's awesome. What you hear is real, raw, unedited, and unprepared. You know, we still make mistakes. We still have things that maybe don't go the way we want them to go. But I mean, when it comes down to it, you're staying clean. Your life's starting to change. I love that you're working hard. Gosh, that's a great thing to get into once you get clean. Is just find a job and put in as much overtime, as many hours as you possibly can.
yeah, dude, it happens fast too, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, with the whole coronavirus, I was running into brick walls trying to get a job, and my friend from treatment, we were in our IOP class, and I told this lady that I know from our class, if she needed help working on her house, that I'd help her. And he was like, hey, man, if you want to work, man, you can come work with me. And I've been working for him ever since. I thought it was just going to be like a one-time thing, but we've been working full-time for the last 5 months. And I'm making more money now than I ever have.
It's awesome.
And man, life is good, dude. I bought a nice Honda Accord, and I couldn't ask for anything more, man. Like, it happened so fast. Like, the goals that I had for like a year of being clean happened within like 3 months.
Nice. That's how it happens, man. You get out of it what you put into it. I'm Johnny Ray. This is Zane. Thank you so much for sharing your story. 5-hour recovery, folks. If you want to share your testimony with me, you can email me at foraddictsfromaddicts@gmail.com. 5-hour is on YouTube. It's on Instagram. It's on Twitter. It's on Facebook. Look me up. Email me. Comment below. Let me know if you want to share a video with me. I'd love to hear your story and testimony. And thank you, Zane. I appreciate you, man. So thank you for listening.
You're welcome.